I imagine there's a contingent of individuals who sport the Ralphie-themed Buffs gear not happy with the betting line this week. That's Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12. Knights by 14.5 in Orlando this week, Drake. Look, UCF should be the favorite here. They're at home. I think they're a more complete team than Colorado. Over 2 touchdowns, what am I missing?
Yeah, I want to first reference the sunburn that is a little. I'm more burnt than the Baylor secondary on that Hail Mary, which, by the way,
I was going to say if Rudolph's nose became his whole face, but whatever works for you, man.
Let me say this. I have grown in the last week to like Colorado more and more. The offensive line's bad, putrid, still not very good at the whole football thing, but I think the defense is so much improved from last year that Colorado deserves more respect. However, Spencer, if they lose that game to Baylor, and Baylor at one point looked like it could run away with it. There toward the end of the first half, they built a double-digit lead. You thought, the Bears look really good. Had that been the case, or Baylor just holds on to win, if that field goal goes in with a minute and a half to go and the Bears take home a 10-point, 3-point victory, this line doesn't look as crazy. But Colorado, skin of its teeth, gets it done and wins. I think the defense is so much improved that I'm a little interested myself as to why it'd be 14 points or even up to 15 points. It's
14 with a hook. It's not just 14, Drake. This is 14 with a hook. Colorado could lose this game 38-24, and you're telling me they'd cover. Maybe this is a Vegas nose, and we just don't know, but this is the first Big 12 game we're picking this week. We're going to pick all of them here. I'll go first. I think the Knights are winning the football game. Thought that before the year. I still believe that to be the case. 31-24, UCF wins.
I also believe that UCF wins this game. I don't think there's a way that UCF covers. I believe it's more likely they cover than Colorado wins outright, but I still think Colorado keeps this one tight. They've got 2 Heisman Trophy candidates who have been Heisman level. Give me UCF 34, Colorado 24.
I actually just changed my mind. I want to give both teams an extra touchdown. 38-31. I think the Knights win in Orlando. A Big 12 championship game berth is on the line in Manhattan, Kansas this week. Yep. I do not believe either of these teams, if they lose, go 0-2 in Big 12 play, are going to be able to run the table. And you're simply not getting into the conference title game with 3 losses. It just doesn't. I don't even know the last time that happened. Maybe it has, and I'm just being ignorant here. But I think Kansas State bounces back here. I have not sold my stock on those particular Wildcats. Arizona's about kind of what I expected them to be, and we'll get to them in a moment. But Kansas State is favored by 4.5. This line has fluctuated in there. Give me the Wildcats 31-20.
I think that Kansas State will win this game, and one of the biggest reasons I believe that is because Locked On Oklahoma State host Cody Stovall said so. And Kansas State takes this one. Defensive kind of fall apart there late. 38-28. Give me the Wildcats to cover.
Yeah, they were impressive against the Wildcats on their home field once before, and I think they will be impressive against the Cowboys as well. Change the mascot. I don't know how much the outcome really changes there. But how about this one? Number 22, BYU, 1-0 in Big 12 play against 2-2 Baylor, looking for a bounce back. Is it a trap to bet Baylor -3.5 according to our friends at FanDuel? I don't believe so, Drake. I am taking the Bears in this spot to disrupt BYU's mojo. They're coming back home. I think they're ticked off. Aranda's coaching for his job. He probably needs at least 6 wins to get there. I think this will be one of them, and a big win for Baylor here in front of the home crowd. Give me Baylor to win. Low-scoring football game, 21-15.
What home crowd, Spencer? BYU might outnumber the Baylor fan base in this one. After last week, Dave Aranda called it the victory cigar, his defensive play that allowed a Hail Mary to tie it, Colorado to win. There is not a more demoralized team in the Big 12 right now. Dave Aranda is effectively Bernie from weekend to Bernie, so just kind of propping him up on the sideline for the next 8 games. Baylor falls, keeps it competitive because of a very good defense, but the offense has been lackadaisical at best. Turn it over 2 or 3 times. BYU gets the win, 28-17.
No arguments here that the Baylor offense cannot afford to turn the football over against that BYU defense, which is very good. Jay Hill is doing a magnificent job there in Provo, but I'm sticking with my weird score prediction, 23-15. TCU goes to Kansas. Look, TCU, you're wearing their hat here, Drake. I want to like TCU. I thought Andy
can't
Avalos
anymore.
was
You
the right
can't.
hire defensive coordinator, but you're right. This defense is an abomination. They are LSU 2023, but in the Big 12. I legitimately believe, I am not just saying this, Drake, if TCU had an average defense, you can make the USC comparison from last year as well. If they just had an average defense, I think they're in the Big 12 championship game this year. I am that big of a fan of Josh Hoover. So once again, I will refuse to learn my lessons here. Nah, screw it. I'm not picking TCU again. Kansas wins the game 28-24.
TCU ran the ball for 65 yards last week on 32 carries. They only ran the ball 17 times the entire game against UCF 2 weeks ago. They don't even try to establish the run. Kendall Briles is almost as much of a problem as Andy Avalos is right now. And when two coordinators can't get the job done, your head coach isn't giving you a lot of help either. Give me Kansas in this game, 31-13. Jayhawks roll over TCU.
Iowa State travels to Houston. I refuse to pick Houston in the 2024 season against a Power 4 team. I think the Cyclones roll to their first Big 12 victory of the year.
Iowa State by as many points as humanly possible. Houston by negative points, if that's a thing we can do.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely allowed because this is my show, so I can decide what is and is not allowed. Last two games, let's start Cincinnati, Texas Tech. This one interesting. So Texas Tech, I think a lot of people kind of wrote them off after the Washington State game, and Washington State is a top 25 capable team. They have a chance to prove that again this week when they go to Boise State in a classic Pac-12 showdown? Is that what we're calling that now? I don't know.
Sure,
you tell me.
Whatever.
But I think for Texas Tech, they righted the ship against North Texas. They played well against a solid, not great, but solid Arizona State team last week. If they're going to be that dark horse Big 12 title contender, remember, they don't have a Big 12 loss yet. They just have the one embarrassing loss where they got blown out against Washington State in Pullman, which is a tough place to play. I think they've settled things down, certainly at home. Cincinnati, 3-1. I didn't necessarily think they would be there at this point in time. 1-0 in the Big 12. I think that changes this week. Give me the Red Raiders 31-27.
Yeah, Cincinnati has beaten Towson, Miami of Ohio, and Houston. The best team in that three is Miami of Ohio, and that's not very good from a strength of schedule standpoint. They fell to Pitt in heartbreaking fashion. I don't believe in Cincinnati yet, though Corey Kiner and Brennan Sorsby are better than expected. We knew Kiner would be good, and he's what they've got, the bell cow of the offense. I don't know if it's enough in love against a Texas Tech team that's this hot. Jones AT&T will be rocking in a night game. There's no way Cincinnati wins this when they fall to 3-2. Texas Tech is 4-1, and all of a sudden, once again, we're talking about the Red Raiders being contenders. Editor's note, add a touchdown to TCU. Their offense is good. 34-20, Kansas beats TCU. Thank you.
Okay, that's completely fair across the board. I had an amendment earlier, so I will allow you to do so as well. And I like that Red Raiders home crowd. I think it is an underrated home environment in the Big 12 when they get rocking down there. They're rocking. They love their football, and I think they have a good, I don't know if it's a great team yet. I do think they have a good team, and the Arizona State game last week really proved that. How about this one? A rematch of what was a drubbing for the Utes last year in Tucson. There's a very different Arizona team. They're more than a 10-point underdog in Salt Lake City. I cannot get behind Arizona in this matchup. Isaac Wilson, Cam Rising, I don't care. Give me the Utes at home. Cam Rising will determine whether I feel like they cover, but let's say he doesn't play. I'll go Utah 24-13.
Utah has allowed 52 points all season long. Like TCU allowed 66 points in a full game last week. Utah has played 32 quarters and allowed 52 points. When you saw that Arizona only put up 7 against Kansas State, Utah is about to do, after what happened last year, unspeakable things to the Wildcats. I know Kyle Whittingham. He wants to win this game by as many points as humanly possible, and he will. Give me Utah to win it 41. The offense comes alive against an Arizona defense that wasn't great a couple weeks ago. 41-17.
That's every Big 12 pick of the week, and that's Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12. Who better to do such things with? Drake, I appreciate it as always, and I'm so unprepared for however you're going to end this segment as usual.
Yeah, who better to do it than, Kevin Borba. You can do it with Kevin Borba, but me. I'm a great backup.
Yeah, you're number 2. You know what? Some people are vice presidents, and that...